Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Card Talk, podcast where we spend a little bit of time talking about cards from Lord of the Rings, the card game, and I'm your host, Dave Walsh.
And I'm Grant Thompson, just along for the ride. And today we are discussing Journey Along the Anduin, the encounter card set. Not the actual deck itself, but the encounter cards that make up that part of the encounter deck. So, we have, it's a total of 7 different cards with numerous copies of different cards. You've got 3 copies of the Misty Mountain Goblins, 1 copy of Massing at Night, 2 copies of the Banks of the Anduin, and 3 copies of Gladden Fields, and then you've got your 3 quest cards. So, to start things off, let's talk about the Misty Mountain Goblins, which has a 15 engagement cost, 2 threat, 2 attack, 1 defense, and 3 hit points. And after Misty Mountain Goblins attacks, remove 1 progress token from the current quest. So, not much to be said about that. It's quite a softball of an enemy. I mean, it takes 4 to kill outright, but generally speaking, its attack is not going to do much.
Yeah, and I think that the thing that's annoying about the Misty Mountain Goblins, again, this is not difficult, like you said, it's softball, and I totally agree, is that the thing that's annoying about this is that if it gets turned over on that very first quest card, then you're automatically engaging it, and based on the deck you're running, you may or may not want to engage an enemy in the very first round. You may want to wait, but the 15 threat really force your hand and really make you have to make some decisions right at the very beginning, and so that becomes annoying, you know. But that's what I think is brilliant about the game, is that you have to make decisions. They force you to make decisions. Sometimes you make the right one, sometimes you make the wrong one. And so if this comes out, this flops over on that first quest card as the when revealed effect of that first quest card, or the setup effect, then I think that it becomes slightly more annoying than if it just pops off on the encounter deck.
Yeah, so the next card is the location, Gladden Fields. It's a 3 threat, 3 point to clear, 5 victory point location, or 3 victory point location, with the forced effect. While Gladden Fields is the active location, each player must raise his threat by an additional point during the refresh phase.
Yeah, and I think that, again, this is slightly more annoying, but not horrible. And if you can't quest through it in 1 turn, then that makes it even more annoying. And depending on your card pool, you know, 3 quest points could be enough to not be able to get through it in 1 turn. So no matter what, you're going to have at least, unless you have Asphalov and another way to put tokens on this, like the Northern Tracker or something, you know, you're going to have to deal with at least raising your threat 2 once, because it'll become the active location, and you have to go through the turn before you can get rid of it. So, again, I still think that this is kind of annoying more than anything.
Yeah, I agree. It's annoying. It's not really damaging. What's the next card you want to talk about, David?
Well, I think the Treachery Massing at Night is something to talk about, because I like that there's a synergy with both its when revealed effect and its shadow effect. When you're revealing X cards from the encounter deck as its when revealed effect, that's pretty cool. It sucks, but it's cool because you could reveal, if you're playing a 2-player game, you could reveal another Hill Troll. You know, like, it's just that it can be a pain in the neck to reveal encounter cards. I found that when the game is controlling more than you are controlling it, then that's when you have a lot of problems. So a card like this really can set the game up pretty interestingly. And then, then you have the shadow effect, which is instead of reveal X encounter cards, it's deal X shadow cards. And I think that that's a pretty neat effect from a game creator's point of view, but can also be pretty tough to deal with when you have, in a two-player game, two shadow cards, because you reveal one and then you decide if you want to deal with it, and then you reveal another and decide if you want to deal with it. Like it's a pain in the neck.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. You've covered everything I was going to say about massing at night, so.
So that just leaves Banks of the Anduin. What do you think of that?
A softball. If you clear it out, you know what's coming next, either for a shadow effect or for the next encounter card revealed. So, all in all, it's a softball.
It's another way that the game helps out the player, though. I think that that's important to say, is exactly what you said, is typically you clear out locations during the questing phase, and then instead of discarding it in the discard pile, it then is going to go on top of the encounter deck. And then that the next and then the next time the encounter deck has anything to do with gameplay is during the combat phase. And so that whatever card gets that card as a shadow card, that there's no shadow effect. And I think that's a subtle way that the game tries to help you out, and I really like that mechanic. From the game creator's point of view, and as a player, I love being able to control the encounter deck to a degree.
Yeah, I agree. It is a way to control the encounter deck. It's a softball. It helps the players. But when you've got things like the hill troll, you kind of need it at this quest for beginning players to deal with some of the nastier things in play.
Yeah, I totally agree. And then as you move into the quest cards, the first quest card I think is interesting, and then I'll say something and then I'll let you jump in on it. But the way that first quest card reads, the To the River, it says that you reveal one encounter card per player, and then I almost pray that I get the hill troll as that one card, and it's only happened to me a couple of times, because when you flip it over, then it says search for the hill troll if one isn't already in play. So so if you're playing single deck solo, then it's possible that you only have to deal with one of those hill trolls and then one enemy or one location, and it becomes a lot more manageable early game in order to deal with.
Yeah. And also to take note of, you've got to deal with the hill troll that's in the staging area or in play before you can pass on to 2B.
Yeah. And it's any hill troll. It's not just the one that you revealed. So, and I think there's 2 copies of the hill troll. So that makes everything exciting.
Yes. Have you ever in solo had 2 hill trolls come up one and had them both sitting in the staging area for at least 5 rounds?
Not for 5 rounds. I've had both of them in the staging area, and then I try to deal with one while it's still in the staging area, with Gandalf or with Dunhere or some way. I don't run Dunhere that often, but every once in a while I'll put together a deck. it's that hill troll, and this isn't supposed to be an episode about the hill troll, but it's that extra damage that gets dealt as threat that's a pain in the neck with the hill troll.
Yeah. And then once you've eventually dealt with those hill trolls and you've managed to amass enough progress tokens onto the river, we then travel to the Anduin Passage, which has revealed one additional card from the encounter deck each quest phase, but you do not make engagement checks during the encounter phase. And you still may optionally engage one enemy each encounter phase.
It's wild because it sets up exactly what's happening, is that there's, you know, a whole bunch of orcs and stuff that are mounting on the riverbanks.
I like the fact that you can still optionally engage, so you don't have them actually all amassing there, the ambush on the shore.
This is one of those quest cards that you want to get through ASAP. You just want to quest the heck out of it just to get through it, so you don't have to have 100 enemies come down after you defeat it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this rules question here, and I'm kind of breaking the format of the thing, but Halbarad is a leadership hero where it says you can optionally engage an extra enemy each turn. So do you think that you could use Halbarad here to optionally engage a second one or not?
No, because it says optionally engage. Each player may still optionally engage one enemy. Halbarad's effect says you can engage an additional enemy. If that just says you can still optionally engage
Enemies.
an enemy each, well, just engage enemy each encounter phase and not have the specific number in there, I would have said it's all right. But for me, I don't play this quest with Halbarad to use that optional, because in my mind it's stated on the card what you can do.
Right, I agree with that interpretation, but it'd be interesting. And so there's so many
it's a free area, because I don't think it's actually been mentioned in the FAQ for it. So in my mind it states that you can't use Halbarad for that.
Right, you can't use his passive ability. I totally agree, because it gives you a number. You can only optionally engage one enemy per player. So it's not like you can do an extra one.
I think a lot of people would use that as an interpretation until it's clearly defined in an FAQ or an online forum.
Yeah.
But generally for me, it's a no-go.
Right, I agree, because the number's there.
Yeah.
And so the rules say you can optionally engage one enemy, but the fact that the card says you can only optionally engage, or you still can only optionally engage one enemy, I don't know. Maybe it's worth an ask somewhere.
Yeah, definitely worth an ask. I'm sure you'll find someone with more knowledgeable on the rules than myself.
Right.
But then that goes to ambush on the shore.
Right. After all those enemies have been building up.
Yeah, you get, when reveal 2 encounter cards per player and add them to the staging area. Skip the staging step of the quest phase for the remainder of the game. Once there are no enemies in play, the players have won the game. And there's no quest points on this card.
Yeah, I think that the progression of the scenario is neat. That, you know, you get through, you fight the hill troll, and then you get through and you're running, escaping, and then you're on the river, and then all the enemies are on the river, massing on the river, and then you have to kill all the enemies finally at the end. You don't have to actually quest anything, you just have to kill the enemies, which becomes easier and easier because there's 0 quest points. You don't have to quest for as much, and as you kill the enemies and engage them, you have less threat in the staging area. So the way that this quest is designed, it really I guess it could be a real slaughter the first if you don't, the first round of stage 3B. But depending on how long you stayed in 2B.
Yeah. Generally speaking, it's a good quest. I enjoy it. How about you?
I really like Journey Along Anduin. It's a quest that I use to deck test because you get a really big baddie that comes out at the beginning. It's almost like this is a reverse, a flipped from what a kind of a stereotypical quest would be. Typically, you're fighting, and then you get to the big boss at the end. This is kind of like the big boss is front-loaded and put you at the very beginning, and then you have bad guy, and then you have to beat all the little dinky bad guys. Not that they're all dinky, because I think Uftak and Beastmaster and stuff like that are in this scenario, but it's kind of an interesting turning the quest on its head from what people are normally used to when they adventure.
Yeah.
So join us next time when we tackle the Escape from Dol Guldur encounter card set on Card Talk. Have a great day. And if you're interested in finding this or any of our back episodes of Card Talk, feel free to search YouTube, where you can find our flagship video episodes with the username Card Talk 2018. Or you can search the RSS feed, cardtalk2018.libsyn.org, for our extended audio versions of our podcast. Or you can find us on Facebook at Card Talk 2018. And if you have any questions for Grant or myself, or for both of us, feel free to email us at cardtalk2018@gmail.com.